So yesterday I started up the bike and actually was taking it down to get it inspected so that I can put this on the market. And it started up fine. After a little while of running, however, I pulled off spark plugs number 4 and it made no difference, and it did the same thing on the other side of number 3 and it made no difference. So it appears as that 4 and 3, well, it's clear 4 and 3 were not firing, and of course that would lead one to think that it's the coil that's specific to those two cylinders. However, because it comes and goes, my guess it's got to do with a wiring connection, and today I'm going to look under the cover here and maybe remove the air cover and look at the wiring connections that go down into the coils and see if I can't just find a bad connection. What I'm going to do is start up the bike, let it warm up, and then try pulling spark plugs 3 and 4 and see if I have the same problem today that I had yesterday. So a cold start, started right up, idling high because the choke was all the way out. I'm going to let it idle for a while, or run for a while, warm up. I'll get the idle back down, and once the idle is back down, then I'll start pulling off the number 4 and 3 spark plug wires, see what I get. Say that made no difference. I'm going to do it again. Can't tell. We'll try number 3. Yeah, that's making a difference. So right now it appears as though 3 and 4 are firing, but let me try number 1 and see if it's a big difference. Okay, so let's go back and say that both 3 and 4 are not firing. Okay, checking for spark on number 3. Well, there's clearly spark there. Cylinder number 1. So, some there. Number 2. Number 2. So how confusing is this? Both 1 and 2 cylinders were running, 3 and 4 were not, but my test for spark is pretty inconclusive. I'm not, unless I'm just not getting a good ground. Number 2. Very weak spark. So now that I have fiddled with the spark plugs, had them out, checked for spark, got kind of mixed feedback, I put things back together again, fired up the bike, and what I've now found is that 1 and 3 appear to be firing. If I pull 3, it clearly has an impact. If I go over the other side of the bike, if I pull 4, it seems to make no difference at all. If I pull 2, so now it appears that only 1 of the 4 cylinders, number 4, is not firing. Okay, so now bike is warmed up, choke is off. Down here to cylinder number 4. Fire. Number 2, clearly fire. Over the other side. Number 3, clearly firing. All 4 cylinders are firing, and I don't know why. As I inspect the wiring in the primary ignition system, the first junction I come to is this junction here. The lead wire comes off the points and connects here to the wires that then go up the top here and go to the coils. So I have looked at these in the past a number of times, and really, so here's the question. Can it be that it's as simple as the fact that this connection is no longer as tight as it should be? I'm going to snug it up inside that connector, but even when I do, it does pull out surprisingly easily. So I'm just going to pinch that down just a little bit and then reinsert this. So using these pliers, I have just pinched these connectors very gently and placed everything back in there. Now all 4 of these connections are very, very nice and snug. And now I'm going to go up and check for the connections right at the coils and see if these bullet connectors on the blue and yellow wire and on the yellow wire are as snug as they should be. I would say that these connectors were not as snug as they should be, so I'm going to try and just crimp these 2 bullet connectors ever so gently and see if I can improve that connection. I have snugged those down as best I can. I feel like those are good solid connections. So I contacted my good buddy Cliff to ask him about these other connections underneath here. There's a 3-way that has black and white wires coming into it, and so he really said if any of these 3 connections are not really good, then that could also be leading to my problem. So now I have to get in here and double and triple check to see that these connections are good and solid. The trouble is, of course, there's no room at all to work in here. To get 2 big hands in there, get these pulled apart, and then have room to snug them back together again. So I will reach in here with this tool and attempt to gently crimp that connector. So I found that it was easier to work on these lines and make sure that I had good solid connections by just coming in through this side part of the shelter and reaching my hand over the top, and that worked better than trying to get at it from above. So just to clarify, getting these connections nice and snug took me about an hour of frustrating work. I would crimp the connectors to make them a little tighter. Then I would try to push the terminals together and they wouldn't go in. Then I'd have to open up the connectors again, make them a little wider. So after 2 or 3 tries, I could get them all feeling as snug as I wanted them to be. So it looks nice and neat now, but it was an hour's worth of frustrating work. Now that I have redone the wiring connections, let's see what I have here for a spark. This is number 1. So I'm seeing some spark there. Try number 3. Number 2. And number 4, if I can hit the button and record at the same time. Let's see what I got. Number 4. Started right up. Not warmed up yet. Just checking on the spark plugs.